knew writing a book could be so much fun and expose you to so many things? Today's video, I'm going to talk about feedback because it is part of the process and it's critical to your book being the best it ultimately can be. So whether you show up or shut down, by the end of this video, I'm going to give you some coping strategies so that when you're ready to get the feedback, you don't take it personal and you can really look at your feedback objectively. Hey, I'm Karen Roy, your book writing coach, and for the easiest and simplest ways to get your book written, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so you'll be notified every Wednesday when I upload a new video. Feedback can really crush your soul. And I know as an entrepreneur, you've put your heart and soul into this book and you are truly passionate about it. So when somebody, wants to give you some feedback or you've sourced people to give you feedback, we really have to have thick skin or broad shoulders to accept that feedback and not take it personally. That's easier said than done. And on this video today, I'm going to share with you some coping strategies. And so let's just backtrack a little bit. If you're an entrepreneur, this will probably not be the first time that you have ever sourced feedback. Usually when you become an entrepreneur and you either quit a really good job, you quit a corporate job that you're making six figures in, or you just quit a really, maybe it's not a great job, but you're like, I'm done, I'm out of it. I'm sure you took lots of comments and we won't write, maybe it's feedback, but it's delivered in a different way and a lot of criticism because people are like, what did you just do? You quit all that wasn't freedom and it wasn't flexibility, or we'd all still be working full-time jobs. So just want to get that out there. As an entrepreneur, you kind of think differently than mainstream, and that is totally okay. I've been an entrepreneur all my life and have had lots of people throw and poke holes at my strategies, and you finally just get over that. But today I want to talk about when you are at that pivotal point in your book writing process. So everything's written. Again, keep in mind, this is just a draft. It's not your final copy. It's a working copy. It's a work in progress. So the more you get into your head that this is a work in progress, you might even have certain parts of your book where you were struggling too, because you need to articulate. You need to sometimes what makes sense to us doesn't make sense to the reader. And I know when we wrote our book, Leadership, It's Not Just for Leaders, there were certain things that were just normal to us. Like we just assumed everybody did it. And that word assume is where we'll get you in trouble. So it was really good when we did provide feedback to, or asked other people to provide us feedback, because it really blew out those little holes that we didn't see ourselves. And it's like anything else, when you're in that planning stage, you seem to think you know all the pieces, but when you have a new set of eyes look at something, that's where you start to see the holes in the process, which are key, because anybody you're sourcing the feedback to, there could be two types of people. You're going to have those direct people that are super direct with you, and they cut away the fluff. That is a little harder to accept when they deliver it to you, because they're not, sandwiching it with, well, I really thought you did this good, but that, and then end off with something really positive. They're more to the point, and for their intellect and what you're getting from them, you just have to be open to receive, and that they're providing that to you because they truly want your book to be a success. Nobody wants a book on the shelf that people don't read and think, oh my gosh, like, did anybody read that? Because that book is not going to be a seller. So the critics really are on your side. You're going to have those other people use source feedback that are going to be more emotionally intelligent, in that they will kind of, cushion it. Those people are great. You don't want to have too many of the one or the other. So you want to find that balance, but then you want to make sure that those people are really being honest with you. It's super great that they can provide it in an emotionally intelligent way so that your feelings aren't hurt, but you also want to make sure that they're drilling down to the points that they want to get across to you. So sometimes, a mix of those people. So think about, who am I going to provide this feedback to? And have a nice mix of the type of people. So those direct people that they're just going to cut through all the fluff. Some of the emotionally intelligent people that are thinking more from a heart-based or centered. And then you want to have maybe a few others that don't have any idea of what your book is about, just to critique it for that flow and start to point out those holes within the process or the chapters that just don't really make sense. Don't wait until the end of the book either to get the feedback. Start sourcing it out through chapters, and you may have different feedback board of directors, let's just call them, 4 different chapters, depending on what your chapters are all about and who might be an expert in that chapter that you're writing. So again, I'll leave that one with you. So that is our first point, is just looking at the types of people that we use to critique our books. Now you've got all the feedback people chosen. I want you to be really strategic when it comes to the feedback. I've created a form for you that you can send out to the people that are going to be providing you feedback or critiquing your chapters, so that it follows a organized flow. And you're going to want to look at the feedback. So through the feedback forms, the questions I've asked, you can switch the questions around and that, but we're looking for themes. So if you keep seeing the same comment through and through and through, well, that's a really good indication that you need to go back and look at that area of the chapter. And then it allows you to have something that you can go back and see from all the feedback, and you've made your revisions, to go back to those feedback forms and make sure you can cross everything off. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to do everything somebody suggested. It's just their opinion. It's still your work, but you want to be really clear to make sure that you've taken what everybody said and you feel that that chapter is the best it can be based on what you've been given. So the form is just allowing you to have an organized way of going back and filing all the feedback by chapter. Once the feedback is done, you've rewritten your chapter or just certain sections, give the chapter back out to those sets of eyes that looked at it and ask them, just to make sure that you've been able to make those types of suggestions, or got clearer, or you were able to articulate whatever it might be, so that the feedback has been received. The last coping strategy I want to talk about is really just, it's a process. So don't get down on yourself, especially in this stage. Don't let someone's opinions, really get in your head. And then you're thinking, oh yeah, this book is never going to sell. This book, why? Don't go down that path, because it's destructive. You need to go back to your goal and your why. Why are you writing this book? If you have a message that there's other people out there that would benefit from, then this is a real learning process. Writing a book it's a huge learning process. And I think when we first start off writing, we have no idea what we are exposing ourselves to, which just means you're growing. And that's a great thing. So don't worry about opinions. Stay true to yourself. It's a lot of self-belief. Sometimes there's a bit of self-doubt. And that's where clients that have worked with me, and they get to that point where, oh, you know, I don't know if I have it in me. That's where we work together and we look at the bigger picture. It's really easy to go down the rabbit hole and be overwhelmed with everything. And, you know, that's my expertise, is really pulling you out of that, putting the big picture back. And we go through the feedback too. Like, I'm always looking through your chapters and making sure we've got the right flow and that as well. But the more eyes on your book, the better it's going to be. And it's a learning process. So just give yourself a pat on the back for getting as far as you have. Well, whether you're going to shut down or show up, that is all about you. I hope you found this video helpful. Again, I have created your feedback form that you can use down below in the comment section. So grab your free copy. And I would love to hear your comments. You know, have you had to take feedback, and how was it? What did it make you feel like? So there's also another video I have about self-belief, and you might want to watch that one too, just before you start to source your feedback. Again, I'm Karen Roy. I'm your book coach. And until we meet again, keep writing.